The so-called super mayor of Dayton, Illinois, Tiffany Henyard, has been in the news for all the wrong reasons. If you thought politics couldn't get any messier, this story will make you reconsider. From legal battles over a chaotic caucus to accusations of financial mismanagement and an impending FBI investigation, Henyard's career has turned into a dramatic spectacle, and she isn't going down quietly. Instead, she is doubling down, refusing to admit defeat, and leaving chaos in her wake. It's going to be a crazy ride, so watch out.
The first WGN Investigates report on questionable spending by South Suburban politician Tiffany Henyard. It appears she has been forced off the ballot.
Let's start by introducing the state to the recent Thornton Township Democratic Caucus. Originally intended to be a regular procedure, it devolved into a full-fledged political circus. Henyard. She wanted to keep her job as the mayor of Dayton and the supervisor of Thornton Township, but things didn't work out. Her name was removed from the ballot because she didn't meet the requirements for a full slate of candidates. It seems that her team didn't have a certified assessor, which is a must for any campaign for a township supervisor. Instead, Illinois State Senator Mapoon Harris, who is also the Township Democratic committee, stepped in and won the nomination.
Former Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard was appointed to that position tonight, lost her bid for the Democratic Party's nomination.
Henyard took the defeat badly and stormed out of the caucus, accusing Harris of running an illegal process and promising to sue everyone involved. She yelled, "You didn't run none of this right." Harris retorted that the caucus followed the rules, explaining that people in Thorn Township might not be familiar with caucuses because they haven't had them in a long time, but that this has been the case in many other townships throughout the state. Nevertheless, supporters of Henyard were furious, accusing Harris of voter suppression. Since then, Henyard has intensified her accusation, calling the caucus a scam and threatening to take legal action. Her attorney even contended that the regulations were purposefully changed to prevent her from being on the ballot. One rule, for instance, prohibited candidates for township supervisor from running for another office concurrent. Of course, Henyard is also seeking re-election as mayor of Dayton. She says she was unaware of this rule until the day of the caucus, but she says it demonstrates that the odds were unfairly stacked against her. However, Harris' camp maintains that the rules were made public and available beforehand, but let's not forget that this is more than a sloppy caucus thing, from extravagant spending to mishandling township and village budgets over the past year. But Henyard's problems go much deeper. Critics claim she has been using public funds like her personal piggy bank. According to one report, she spent an astounding $43,000 on Amazon in a single day. Yes, you read correctly, only the beginning. She has also been charged with spending over $100,000 on travel meals and other expenses, frequently with little to no justification.
Because they can't beat me. If they could beat me, they would lose to the polls. But now when I bring people out,
According to a preliminary assessment by former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, who was appointed as a special investigator, Dayton's general fund changed from having a surplus of more than $5 million to having a deficit of more than $3 million as a result of Henyard's financial decisions. According to Foot's research, Henyard used the village credit card to make purchases at Walgreens, Target, and Wayfair in only 2 years. Meanwhile, the townspeople, many of whom make a median annual income of only $24,000, are left wondering where their money is going.
To me, there are perception issues with it that are right to get attention. Will the court look at those perception issues? Probably not, but the voters certainly should.
The financial difficulties facing Henyard don't end at work. According to her landlord, Henyard and her boyfriend haven't paid rent since August and owe thousands in arrears. To make matters worse, they allegedly changed the garage code and locks to keep the landlord out. This is the same Henyard who receives a combined salary of almost $300,000 from her positions as township supervisor and mayor. How can she be trusted to manage millions of taxpayer dollars? In addition to being personal, Henyard's financial issues have affected her government of Dayton and Thornton Township, leaving the locals to deal with the fallout for months. Concerns regarding outstanding invoices, particularly past due payments for essential township services, have been voiced by trustees. One significant problem is that the township's insurance has allegedly lapsed due to non-payment, leaving residents vulnerable as vital services like senior bus programs and liability coverage for township properties are in limbo. Henyard blames the trustees for impeding her efforts to address these problems, but detractors contend that her poor financial management was the primary cause of the crisis. Henyard recently suggested cutting her successor's pay as Thornton Township Supervisor to only $25,000, which would have further exacerbated the mess. Outrage has been generated by Max's decision to reduce the $200,000 she presently makes. Trustees have called this a clear attempt to dissuade eligible applicants. Henyard's continuous legal disputes are depleting township funds at an alarming rate, while critics say it's just another instance of her putting her personal agenda ahead of the community's welfare. One trustee said she's attempting to undermine the position for anyone who challenges her. Residents have expressed dissatisfaction over seeing their money used to fight battles that seem more personal than professional. And with the FBI investigation looming, some fear the township could face even more financial strain if criminal charges are brought against Henyard or her ally. Her lawsuits against trustees and critics frequently require expensive legal counsel, which is paid for by taxpayers.
People were getting let in at the proper time. We had a caucus. And the people voted for us slated candidates to represent them.
At a recent village board meeting, Henyard compared herself to Donald Trump, saying she has been unfairly targeted because of her position. Like it or not, I am your mayor, she said as some audience members turned away in protest. But her detractors aren't buying it. Despite all of this, Henyard maintains she is the target of a smear campaign and has been using every chance to portray herself as a misunderstood leader opposing the up system. If you thought this saga couldn't get any messier, guess again. One person openly mentioned that she doesn't pay her own bills. Stop her and keep exposing her. The FBI is also looking into Henyard. Business owners in Doden have accused her of using the police to raid their establishments after they refused to back her politically. And the agency has apparently been investigating claims of financial misconduct, including the misuse of state funds in political revenge. One pub owner said that his license was canceled soon after he refused to contribute to a Henyard-sponsored civic event. Another business owner claimed that similar pressure led to the closure of his transportation company. Some have compared her leadership to a real-life parks and recreation scenario as a result of these activities, but without the amusement.
2025, and clock is ticking.
The FBI is not the only organization looking into Henyard's activities. Her own trustees have demanded that her spending patterns be examined because they believe they are excessive. One particularly startling report found that some Doden police officers received more overtime pay than their base pay. For instance, one officer who was paid $73,000 received over $100,000 in overtime. What's next for Tiffany Henyard? She's still in office, but her days as the supervisor of Thornton Township are numbered without the Democratic nomination. Her only option is to run as an independent or as a right-wing candidate, despite her insistence that she will win. Critics say this is just another instance of Henyard's poor management, as money that could be used to improve the town is instead being diverted into dubious expenses. Even if she is able to remain on the ballot, it's difficult to see how she can recover from the mountain of scandals that have piled up over the past year, she said, adding that her legal team is already planning a lawsuit to dispute the caucus results.
Know this, I am gonna come through on a landslide just like Trump did. Know that I will be victorious in the
Township and Doden Township, meanwhile, are left to cope with the fallout. Trustees have boycotted meetings, leaving the township without insurance and endangering vital services. They are angry that the ongoing drama has made their government into a farce. Ultimately, the Henyard story serves as a warning about the perils of unbridled power and subpar leadership. Although identity politics and grandiose claims may have contributed to her rise to prominence, her actions have demonstrated that she is more concerned with protecting herself than with helping her community. One local said that she is the reason the town lacks insurance. The main concern at this point is whether Henyard will be held accountable for her conduct or whether she will manage to maintain her position of authority. Additionally, what does this mean for the future of Doden and Thornton Township? Is the harm she has wrought irreparable? or has she permanently tarnished these communities? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. Is Tiffany Henyard her own worst enemy or a victim of political sabotage? What can locals do to make sure their concerns are heard going forward? We appreciate your time, and please remember to subscribe for additional updates on this developing story.